with Anu just becoming the owner of Chambal Safari Lodge. Many of you must have heard of it, multi-prize winning lodge and one of the great conservation tourism successes. RP is also a politician. He's one of the few guys who makes any sense on television when he's brought him over there. And is a man of many parts. I mean, every time he opens his mouth, I'm astonished at all the things he does. Gautam is the owner of Net Zero, which is a pioneering company in India engaged in the realm of carbon emissions, reduction, trading, creating carbon credits, wealth, and how to balance all of these things. So he is involved in the entire sort of circular economy, the green economy, around carbon and carbon emissions. And we have partnered at Bridges. Some of you were there. I know Patricia was there. Some other people were there. We have partnered since then. And I'm a retired lodge owner. We now have only one lodge left. Otherwise, we used to operate from Ladakh to Central India to Gujarat, and also ran mobile camps. And what really impressed me, RP of course is an old friend, so I know the kind of work he does. But what really impressed me about Gautam was the rigor and integrity that he brought to the entire process of measurement and offsetting carbon costs. They were involved, Net Zero, I met him over Bridges. They were involved with RARE to actually, the Bridges event in RARE was the first tourism show, or what would you call it, an event in India that actually had an entire Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3 measurement of carbon emissions and a full offset. I think it was 100% offset. So that was the first event in India that was ever done. And he brings a lot of passion, but he also brings a lot of honesty and great rigor to the process. And is very open to questions, very open to your own suggestions. So it's always a two-way. Program. ISN is the Indian School for Nature, which is RP's brainchild. I'm one of the members of the board. The other members are also people that many of you will know. Mr. K.K. Singh, the pioneer for tourism in Bangkok, and Dr. Rohini Chaturvedi, who is a geographer, but also somebody hugely involved in agroforestry, climate resilient agriculture, and everything associated with that. Please have a quick look at what the concept that ISN does. So, and we put this up again at the end of the program. We'll bring this up again, so you can see what ISN is mandated to perform. But in a very simple way, I would say that ISN is at the center of identifying issues, problems, or things that need a solution in several verticals, one of which is travel sustainable or sustainability in travel. And identifying that problem, looking for solutions, and then bringing experts together using in-house expertise, bringing expertise from outside, as with Net Zero as an example, and creating solutions out there, and then disseminating those solutions to people for whom it may be relevant. So what this is about, is that all right, Darby? And then we can, rather than talk about all of this, you guys can have a look at this, and this is going to be recorded, by the way, so you will be able to see everything over here. Before I go any further, I do want to thank Mr. Subhash Yadav particularly. He's been very, very kind and allowed us to use this hall, which is, this is his contribution to the day's program. And my good friend Gyanan Tiwari, without whom I wouldn't have been able to contact anybody. So he was the key guy in giving me all the information for people over here. So what this program is about today is that there is the one need that we have identified is not too far down the road, starting actually from this year, 2024, is mandatory what they call environment, social and governance reporting, ESG. You must have seen these. There's a There are all of these sort of acronyms out there, but ESG is going to be an important acronym for all of us to understand. It's called environment, social, and governance. And this kind of reporting is going to cause headaches to everybody. I mean, it's just going to add another layer of bureaucracy, of work, of complication in our lives. So and what that means is that down the line, ending in about by 2034, 35, the timelines aren't absolutely clear. But certainly by 2029, many of the companies that you guys are working with from the EU, Britain, possibly even within India, because India is also now contemplating bringing in these guidelines, mandatory guidelines, there is going to be reporting required. That you are going to have to report on your ESG, you're going to have to report on your emissions, you're going to have to report on your social issues, you're going to have to report on your governance. And that reporting has to be done as per certain, there would be, I don't know, at the moment there are no specified guidelines, but it will have to be done in formats which are universally recognized. So of course there's a whole layer of new experts and expertise that is being built up because of this. We are best placed actually to make use of this, because as you may have read from the mail that I sent out and the messages that I sent out, wildlife lodges, the reason we started the wildlife lodges is most of you are climate positive. Most of you are actually on the right side of the reporting. Most of you have properties where there is rewilding happened, you have allowed the forest to come back, you have planted a lot of trees, you have created an environment which is sequestering, capturing a lot of carbon emissions. You are, just by doing that, you're capturing much more water than you're using. So basically, your emissions balance sheet is positive. Your water balance sheet is positive. Okay, now other issues of community engagement, which is the social side. Are you compliant with your own governance guidelines? You will have to come up with those eventually. Even small companies will have to be reliant. But that is a separate issue. The main thing that we're looking at today is emissions, is waste treatment, because and water. Okay, and unfortunately, Pooja Natarajan was going to talk about the reporting side of it, because that's very important. How that pans out. She couldn't make it, but RP is going to talk about that because he's had an entire. So basically, it's going to start with RP. The presentation is going to start with RP. He has done what is known as a voluntary balance sheet for emissions, water, community, so that is the social, and a couple of other verticals. That has then been reported. So you will understand how the process takes place of measuring emissions, measuring your water balance, how do you do those budgets, and how that is reported. Because in that report is where your credibility lies, is the credibility of the whole thing. So our idea here is, we all say we are sustainable. हमारे पास इतना जंगल है, हमारे पास इतना पानी है, we have this, we have that. Until and unless that is measured and audited independently, rigorously audited and certified as per international guidelines or internationally recognized formats, you're saying whatever you like is of no value. It's simply self-promotion. It has to be measured, and these are numeric values. Remember, when we talk about sustainability, sustainability has a number, and that number is 0. So that is the number that we're all aiming towards, either 0 or minus. In the sense that if our emissions are 10 tons, most lodges will be probably sequestering, capturing at least 10 plus 2. So you will be 2 in the positive side. And we've been talking through ISN, we've been talking about an interesting concept of what we would call net zero travel itineraries, in which lodges and hotels which have gone through the audit process, are certified, show that they are either climate positive or at least net zero, can come together and create what you might call sustainable itineraries, or at least sustainable in the scope 1, scope 2 areas that they will be sustainable. Now, what we're going to present over here are the tools that allow you to do this. Okay, so this is a toolkit that is going to be presented. There are two elements of that toolkit. One is a free-to-use manual. It will come through the ISN website. It's a free-to-use manual which will have resources which will constantly be updated. That will be coming up there. It will also have an Excel sheet that RP is going to go through, which will allow you to do your own audit. Not your own audit, but your own measurement. I should call it an audit. Your own measurement of emissions and water capture and your water budgets. So you will be able to do that. If you want to go further and you want to actually go through scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3, which is the key one, and you want to actually have that independently audited and verified so that you can get certification, then you go through a paywall. And that paywall, all of that is coming with collaboration with Net Zero, and Gautam is going to talk about that, because of course we also need to know what the financials are over here and so on. So I'm going to hand over to you. Thanks a lot. Thank you all for coming early, and I'm going to hand over to you.